Fuck!
This is the story of DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, a simple compound found throughout nature which has profound effects on human consciousness.
DMT, even though it's the most powerful psychedelic drug known to man, it's in every single ecosystem all over the world. It exists in plants and grasses, and it's everywhere. I mean, it's really the craziest drug to be illegal everywhere because everyone's got it in their system. It's like pretty intense stuff, man. If you do it, you will talk to intelligent beings from other dimensions, for real. You would think that if there's something like that, that it would be on the front page. It's amazing that people don't know about it. I mean, it's the most incredible experience. I mean, we are such an experience-obsessed society. I mean, everybody wants to go whitewater rafting, and people want to talk about, you know, my uncle climbed Mount Everest. It's all about experiences. We all want to ride roller coasters and see the craziest movies. There is a little powder, and you smoke this little powder, and it will change the way you look at everything. You won't care about UFOs. If a UFO landed right out there, I'd be like, wow, yeah, they're probably from another planet. Whatever. It's crazier than you could possibly imagine or describe. If you take DMT, you will communicate with something, and it's so beyond description that me talking about it is like trying to explain a kaleidoscope to a blind man. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, there's no way you could explain it. I mean, it's so beyond anything you can explain. But something communicates with you when you do this stuff. And my words do it no justice. The craziest thing about DMT, because DMT is literally like having a meeting with God. It's like having a meeting with divine, unbelievably wise, incredibly loving energy, like whatever it is, the source of everything. And it leaves you so humbled that after it's over, you have it's like literally like you're still you still look like you still wear the same clothes you are, but you're not really you anymore. I mean, you literally have been changed. You know, you have experienced something that very few humans experience. And the thought to me that people can go through their entire lives and not know about this is an incredible waste of time. It's like your life could be so much more positive and so much more interesting and fascinating, and you would be so much more humble and aware of what you really are and where you really stand if you just have this experience.
Literally, but the craziest thing is about it is it's natural. And your brain produces it every night as you sleep. You know, when you sleep, during the time you're in heavy REM sleep and right before human death, your brain pumps out heavy doses of dimethyltryptamine. Dreaming is hugely important. If you don't dream, you'll go fucking crazy and you'll die. While you're in heavy REM sleep, you are going through a psychedelic trip. And very few people know about this. But it's been documented. There's a great book on it called DMT, the Spirit Molecule, by a doctor named Dr. Rick Strassman. And he did all these clinical studies at the University of New Mexico on it. And you take this shit and literally you are transported into another fucking dimension. I don't mean like you feel like you're in another dimension. I mean like you're in another dimension where there's complex geometric patterns moving in synchronous order in three-dimensional space. And it's like they're arteries, except there's not blood pumping through them. There's fucking lights, pulsating lights with no boundaries, and you can't really understand it. And there's a dude who looks like sort of like a Thai Buddha, except he's made entirely of energy, and there's no like outline to him. He's just one thing, and he's concentrating on it, and he's trying to tell me not to give in to astonishment, because there's like a beat, it's like woo-dum, 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 and there's all these fucking complex patterns moving around, and this guy's looking at me in the eye, and I am fucking freaking out, and it lasts for about 5 minutes. When it's over, after 5 minutes, you're like, what the fuck is that? Now here's where it gets really crazy. You're doing this every night when you go to sleep, when you have heavy REM sleep. Nobody understands why we have to do that. It's never been figured out. But when you're doing it, you don't remember any of that experience. Well, the heavy doses that they gave people in clinical trials with the Strassman studies, the heavy doses produced the most profound effects, but nobody remembered them. There was no memory of it whatsoever.
There's drugs out there that are actually good for you. There's drugs out there that are actually good for your mind. I do drugs because I find the state that psychedelic drugs put you in very fascinating and very introspective, and you can learn a lot about yourself. You can learn about a lot about life because it removes you and your ego from the equation. You get to look at things from like a newborn's perspective. That's why I do it. I don't do anything like, I don't do coke or meth or anything dangerous, anything that's addictive. I have never done coke. I've never done speed. I've never done heroin. I won't do anything that can hurt you. But psychedelic drugs, they're very different. With this big blanket that we put on everything, we call everything drugs. That's a broad term that encompasses everything from like NyQuil to DMT. You know, I mean, they're all drugs. I mean, they all affect your consciousness. It's like, how do they affect your consciousness, though? I'm not interested in anything that messes me up. I'm not interested in anything that gives me brain damage or anything that makes me, you know, addicted to it. I'm only interested in things that can alter my state of consciousness for the better. It's very, very intense.
Everybody in their life, if you live, you know, and you haven't had a heavy psychedelic experience and you haven't gone in an isolation tank, you've missed out. You've missed out on a huge chunk of what life really is. Life is a massive fucking mystery, and there's only a few different ways to really crack below the surface of that mystery, and the best way is psychedelics. And the heavier the psychedelic, the better. And guess what? No one's dying from psychedelics. All our thoughts on psychedelics are all based on bullshit propaganda that we heard about people, you know, going crazy or losing their minds on it. You're not going to go crazy. You're going to go fucking sane. All right? All that stuff is going to remove your ego, and it's going to explain to you what the world is really all about and cuddle all the surface areas of...
What is the world really about?
We're bacteria. It's not necessarily, you know, look, there's great things in us, and there's beauty in people, and there's, you know, babies are cute and shit like that. But when you get past that, a lot of what that stuff is biological tricks that are all set up to make sure that we keep perpetuating the species, keep moving this thing forward. Now, why does a species want to move forward? Why does technology move forward? Why do we keep inventing new weapons, and why do we keep inventing new crazy cell phones? What is this thirst for innovation? What's this all about? Well, this is what I think. If you fly into LA, all right, you're going over those mountains, man, you see these beautiful fields and shit, and then all of a sudden you see LA. If you looked at the Earth as a living organism, you would look at LA and you go, that's fucking cancer. What is that? What is that shit? There's some weird shit growing there, and it's got brown smoke coming out of it, and it fucking stinks. Getting bigger, and it's getting bigger every year. Well, why is it getting bigger? And why do people just keep fucking having kids constantly? What is this all about? Well, I think that it's our purpose. Much like how yeast makes bread rise or mold takes over a fucking sandwich. I think that's what people do. I think we're just a very complicated form.
Yeah.
Which is very complicated form of bacteria. And all our thoughts on ourselves, it's all just biological tricks to keep your ego alive, to keep your biology alive, to make sure you keep perpetuating this fucking thing, to make this human organism, this one gigantic organism keep growing. When you look at like mold on a sandwich, you don't look at individual mold spores with individual identities and jobs and careers. You look at a pile of fucking mold, you know? And that's what people are, man. We just think we're individuals. We're not. We're one collective group. We can't even be away from each other. We get lonely. For punishment in prison, they take you away from other people. Other fucking prisoners! Wouldn't that be the best thing? Dude, keep me the fuck away from the prisoners. No, that's punishment, dude. We need people so badly that if you put us in a room with no scumbags and murderers, we get sad. Every night when you go to sleep, you trip for 8 hours, and you need that. You have to have it, and your body has to have it. You owe that to the grid. Well, I think the whole reason why people are alive, I think there's two consciousness. There's a dream consciousness and there's a waking consciousness. And this dream consciousness might be more real than the waking consciousness. That might be what our whole biology is about. And this whole complex system of fucking social order and, you know, predetermined patterns of behavior and cultural traditions and all that shit might just be ways to effectively move along the breeding process and make sure we keep adding more to the grid. More people, more animals, more babies, save the whales. We're just trying to save energy. We're trying to contribute more to this dimethyltryptamine grid that you see every night when you sleep, but you can't remember. You should all smoke DMT and join my cult, motherfucker!